Hi there again. Today I'm going to show you some work in progress of some promotional artwork I'm doing as a 2D image, and it's to promote my 3Z Imaginary City model kit, which you'll see in the previous blog posts. And I want this composition to have the city, and it was a kind of idea because the idea was to sort of reflect what's going on in the world today as well, because we have quite a lot of divisions. So I'm sort of creating a legend to do with this imaginary city, and all the other imaginary cities that I'm going to make at the moment are going to fit into this world that I'm kind of creating as I do each city. But I was thinking, it's not going to be a utopia because we have quite a lot of divisions at the moment and things like that. So I thought perhaps these cities, like this floating city I made, is like for rich people, like the 1%, and they all live inside this big city. And as you can see, I've imported it into this scene. It's very, very low resolution, so the final scene is going to have all the lights coming out of it and that sort of thing. And then in this composition in the foreground, I wanted to make a kind of gnarly industrial look. And I was thinking of adding loads and loads of buildings, but sometimes less is more and minimalism is more. And I quite like a lot of sci-fi work from sort of 1970s when they used, and also movies from that time when they used very minimal compositions that achieved more of a result than having too much going on, which people like me might say that Hollywood films now have too much going on. As an example, the horror film, the original Wicker Man, was amazing, and a very minimal thing at the end with the burning of the Wicker Man. Very effective, but the Hollywood remake with Nicolas Cage was pretty bad, and it had loads of effects with bees and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with bees though. And anyway, so this is the gnarly thing I'm making here, the foreground, but I wanted to show at the same time that this person is looking out to the floating city, but they're kind of chilling out as well. I'm going to have them with headphones, as you'll see in a minute, and perhaps a bottle of wine. So it's like in life, isn't it? It's even if we're not having that great time or we're not stinking rich, we can still have still have some fun. So there's always a positive message in there somewhere. And for the figure here, it's quite easy. You can use a program like Poser, and for the 3D this time I'm using 3ds Max. This is a free program which I'm using. It's Make Human, so it's very good. You have the human there. You can pose it. You just go to pose, and you can have loads of cool sittings. You'll see this is similar to the sitting pose I did. But what I did is I exported that pose. So you have to make sure it's got a skeleton on it. And you go to export, and I exported it is as a FBX file. You can also export it into the free program Blender, Make Human Exchange MX2, but as I'm using 3ds Max, it exported okay, as you can see, and I moved the rig around a bit. So if we go to wireframe, you can see these very small bones in here, and you can rotate them a wee bit. And it's not working because I've taken the skin off this mesh, but if you'd imported it, you'd be able to move the parts around. And as you can see, so this is I'm getting this lady to this attractive looking sort of model kind of woman, which is made in Make Human. So it's again evoking kind of those 1970s, almost a drink advert, because we've got a very 1970s bottle of wine. I got a Turbo Squid, which is a free model. Make sure any models you download and stuff like that, you're allowed to use them in your art. So they've got like the same as this, so it saves time. It's like getting props. And then the clothes here were just basically the clothes you can use in Make Human, and I just got rid of the textures. I might paint some other textures on. I might paint a bee on it. And also the concrete blocks that I showed you here, I'll just get them up again. I'm going to have a bit of graffiti going on there, perhaps some drawing, and also I'm going to have some drawing overlays on the right hand side with some symbols on as well, because I always like incorporating my drawings into my 3D graphics these days. And yeah, the helmet. So the helmet, all the helmet was basically there's the make human mesh. Just move the helmet away. So what I did is I just selected the area I wanted to. I cloned that mesh. I separated the mesh, and then I proceeded to, you know, extrude it, make a shell with the helmet on. The round bits are just cylinders. Extruded it. Put that 3Z logo on, so that's quite interesting. So that sort of links this woman listening to the music to the city thing going on in the background, the floating city. So there you go. And so that's the process. Make human. So that's going to be in the foreground. Quickly go back to the composition. So this took a long time to get to this point. I had an idea of making sort of a square city with the city, a square block building with a sort of block party, a house party with DJs and music. But at the same time, I wanted to promote the 3Z city, but it wasn't really working. So it was just a process of shifting things around. I mean, I know a lot of 3D graphics artists, and artists just come up with one composition and that's it. I like to evolve each one. So although it's a long process, I always think that you can get some cool stuff going on and unusual stuff, and it sort of pushes you beyond what you usually do. I think if you come up with one composition, the way things are put together on the screen, and you just go with that, you don't go down a world of discovery. So although it's a glutton for punishment to work a bit longer to evolve your design, it's worth it in the end. And as you can see, I think this is working quite well, this composition here. This mesh is very, very basic. It's just imported. And then that's just what you call a proxy mesh. So I'm going to import the really high resolution city in. And I'm going to do it in layers. So these stacked boxes or whatever it'll look like in the end will be one layer with the lady. This pod will be another layer, and this pod will be another layer, and all the background sky. And that means I can really play with the colors. And adding that as a final note, I want the colors to look very retro futuristic, sort of that kind of really 1970s color. Think of sort of old martini adverts and things like that, but with a futuristic feel, to give that kind of cool look. And again, you know, that lifestyle expectation of the high society, but at the same time, I really like the contrast with the gnarly buildings, and this lady who's quite attractive is at the same time she's having a good time listening to the radio while the rich 1% float past in their utopian sky city. So it's I'm starting to create a world, so a futuristic world with the city in, and with more cities, and it's going to be really exciting, and I hope you will join me in this. And you can support me by Bitcoin, you can buy stuff on my online shop, you can buy my Imaginary City book, and also I'm just finishing off my Patreon profile, so it's written a bit better, and you can support me on that, and you get lots of goodies on that as well, and you can follow my city progress. For example, one of the goodies is going to be when this composition is finished, you'll get a big print of this. So that's one of the bandings available. So if you've got any questions, comments, please ask, and thanks very much for watching this work in progress YouTube video. I think I'll do some more. If you like this kind of work in progress thing, let me know, because I'm always trying to get something finished or an article, and sometimes that's quite dry. Sometimes I like it. It's kind of chaotic and just going on and talking about what I'm doing at the moment. So just let me know about that as well. So I'll let you go and have a good evening, and remember to tune into this next week. Subscribe to my channels so you get notification of the next part of the city, and this composition will be finished off and hopefully look Hollywood-esque. Okay, so thanks very much, and speak to you soon wherever in the world you are. Goodbye.